Hello there.
Hey, what's up to you beautiful manga loving faces? It's your boy Caesar here to bring you all another video. And as you can see in the title down below, I have 2 months worth of manga to show you all. I have over 80 volumes from 11 different publishers. So without wasting too much of your time today, let's go ahead and hop into what you clicked on this video for, the manga haul. I want to start off with a publisher that we don't typically see in my hauls, and that is WEBTOON Unscrolled. I picked up Doombreaker Volume 1 from them, something that's kind of just off the whim. I saw the cover, read the synopsis, and after I got my copy, I went ahead and flipped through some of the pages to see what the art looked like, and I can tell you I am very excited to get into the series. And to follow that, we have another single volume from a publisher. We have Sengoku Yoku Volume 3 from Tokyo Pop. I'm a bit behind on this. I didn't read Volume 2, and I haven't read this newest volume yet. Volume 1, like I've mentioned previously, it was very, very interesting, and it definitely got me hooked off Volume 1, so I'm very excited to continue to read this series. And the final publisher I only got 1 volume from is Denpa with Volume 2 of Under Ninja. This was delayed quite a bit, to be honest. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but when I placed my order, I believe it was towards the end of when they announced it, and I did not get my copy shipped to me until they restocked, which, like I said, it was delayed quite a bit. But I still haven't read Volume 1, haven't read this, obviously, but it's one of those series that just by looking at it, I know I'm going to be into it. Plus, it's the same manga that brought us I Am a Hero, which is another series that I'm very interested in, so very excited to finally get into this. I think I'm going to wait for 1 more volume, regardless of how long it takes. Then I'm going to give myself that quick 3-volume rule to see how I feel about it. Next up, let's talk a bit about Manhwa. Manhwa's been at like the top of my peak of interest lately. A lot of these Manhwa series that are coming out, I've never heard of. I know a lot of people have been reading them digitally on Webtoons or on other sources, but reading them physically has been my introduction to Manhwa, and I've been super interested in new Manhwa series. And because of that, I picked up a new series from Ablaze Manga called Terraman. I don't know much of anything about this. I read the synopsis forever ago, and I've already forgotten as to what exactly it is. But all I know is that it was interesting enough for me to place my order, and I don't mind going back into it completely blind. But just from flipping through some of the pages and looking at the art, just like many Manhwa series that I've been reading lately, it's super good. So I'm very interested to get into this and can't wait to read it. The next up is a Manhwa series that I have started reading, but it's been quite a while since I read Volume 1, and that is Volume 2 of Heavenly Demon Reborn. It's been a very long time. I don't know how far in between the release dates for these volumes are, but it has been quite a while. So I probably have to go back and reread Volume 1 and read Volume 2 after that, just to refresh myself, but all I remember is really enjoying the concept, which I believe is a bit of an isekai, which generally isn't my cup of tea, but these Manhwa series, all the ones that I've been into lately have typically been isekai, and they've been incredible. So, super excited to get into Volume 2. And the next publisher on the list is Dark Horse, and I picked up 2 volumes from them as well, starting off with Mob Psycho 100 Volume 12. I still haven't gotten into this yet, but everyone knows and loves Mob Psycho 100 anime. In the manga, I hear the storytelling is on point. The art leaves a little bit to be desired, but I'm not here for that. I'm here for the storytelling that one provides, and I know it's going to be incredible. And to follow that, we have the 4th volume of a fairly obscure manga, and that is Eminon. If you guys remember or have watched any of my previous hauls, I picked up Eminon Volumes 1, 2, and 3 in a previous haul a very long time ago. I'll have to look up and find out what haul that was. But I picked it up off of a recommendation from the Prom G, who read it and said it was kind of like an underrated manga that no one's really talking about. And I did not expect Volume 4 to be released. The information I have regarding the series is very limited. But just based off of Prom G's recommendation, and just talking about the series, I was super interested in it, and I decided to pick up Volume 4, even though I haven't read the other 3. But it's one of those series that I know I'm going to enjoy just based off of the premise and the recommendations from other people that I watch in the industry. And to follow that, I have 4 volumes from Square Enix manga, and to start off, I have Volume 2 of Demons from the Shadow Realm by Himuro Arakawa. This series definitely captured my interest just from Volume 1, and it could be because of my bit of bias and nostalgia from seeing Arakawa's art, but Volume 1 was very interesting, and like I said, I cannot wait to read more. I just wish they released these a little bit faster, because I don't think Volume 3 is slated to come out for quite a while, so I might wait until Volume 3 comes out just to give myself 2 more volumes to read. But it's going to be a bit of a chore and a bit difficult to hold myself back from reading Volume 2, because I am so excited and so interested in getting back into the series as soon as possible. And next up, we have Volume 4 of Tokyo Aliens. I haven't read anything from the series since Volume 1. I felt Volume 1 was just enough to get me hooked and interested, so I've just been picking this up and stockpiling more and more volumes to read at a later date. But all I know is I'm super into the concept, and I think it's very interesting, and the art is impeccable, so I'll continue to stockpile these until I get the desire to read them again, but I know it's just going to be an incredible experience. On a side note though, what happened in their warehouse or during publishing? This volume is so stiff, I'm kind of afraid to open it. Granted, I am. Like, it seems like it just needs to be broken in a bit, but that's the problem, is I'm afraid to break it in. But it is very, very stiff.
What did he say?
And the second to last volume I have from Square Enix Manga is Volume 10 of Ragna Crimson. Yet another series that I haven't touched yet, but I hear nothing but good things about this series from many, many people in the Manga2 community. So I'm still very excited to read it. I just haven't had the motivation to do so yet, but it's definitely working its way up my TBR because I hear increasingly good things and better things the more and more volumes come out for the series. So we'll see what happens. And lastly, from Square Enix Manga, we have a cult classic and needs no introduction, and that is Soul Eater in the Perfect Editions. This is Volume 11. I believe Volume 12 is coming out next month, or actually this month in October. I believe Volume 12 comes out. So I don't know where this is in the series or how much more of these Perfect Editions that we have coming, but like I've mentioned on multiple occasions, I will continue to pick it up. I will continue to stockpile it in my collection until the series is complete, and then I'm going to binge through all of it. I'm very excited to do so. Now, back on the subject of Manhwa, I have 4 volumes from Ize Press, starting off with a new series called Jungle Juice. Still following that trend of a series that I haven't gotten into and I know next to nothing about. I heard the Manga Soft talk about it, and I believe Prof Otaku also talk about it. So I'm very interested just based off of what they said about it. Plus, it's a manhwa, it's full color. Like I said, manhwa has been at the peak of my interest in what I've been reading lately, so I'm very, very excited to get into the series. Now, a series that I'm excited but not so excited to get into, I mentioned it in the same exact way the last time it was featured on one of my hauls, is The Horizon Volume 2. I still haven't read it yet, and I'm going to wait because I believe this is a very short series. It's either 3 or 5 volumes, and then we're done. So I'm going to wait for this to complete before I decide to read some of this heartbreak, and quite frankly, I can wait. This isn't something I want to read currently, not yet, but once I get the full story, all the volumes, and I can read it all together, I'll commit myself to that heartbreak. But till then, I'm just going to wait and procrastinate on this. Next up, we have a manhwa series that I'm almost caught up with. I believe I've read Volume 3. I will have to go back and refresh myself. We have Volume 4 of Tomb Raider King. This has been very, very good. Super interesting. Oh, the story and the concept and everything about it has just been great. I guess it is kind of like an isekai, but there's so much that this manhwa does right, and the art is incredible. It's just been such a pleasant experience reading it every time a new volume comes out, and I'm very excited to get back into it. Like many things that I've been picking up, granted I've been in a bit of a reading burnout, but I have been getting that itch and that fire to read so much again, and I'm super happy to get back into reading again, because when I do, my burning desire for reading burns very hot, and I'm going to end up reading a lot of manga. But till then, I'll continue to pick up and collect all these incredible series that are just going to stare at me on my collection and continue to add fuel to that fire to read again. Now, lastly, from Ize Press is the manhwa that started it all for us over here in the States, and that is Solo Leveling Volume 7. I am extremely behind on this series, and they have been coming out pretty slow as well. I believe the last volume I read was Volume 3 or so. It could have even been Volume 2, but it is an incredible series. I absolutely love the volumes that I did read, and I liked it so much that I have that same kind of mindset of let me stockpile more and more volumes before I get into it. So I'm just waiting until I finally get that motivation where it becomes too much of a daunting task to deny, and I go ahead and jump back into it. But I know I'm going to enjoy it regardless of how long I wait, because from what I've experienced, it is an incredible series, and from what I hear from everybody else, it remains to stay that way all the way up to Volume 7. Now, you can't write this, and I didn't know how perfect this was until I started counting my volumes, but I have 7 volumes from 7 Seas. Starting off, we have Volume 4, Ayakashi Triangle. This is a series that I almost dropped because of how ecchi it was, but the story, the characters, the art, everything is so good that I could not deny it. The ecchi is still a bit weird for me. It's not typically my cup of tea, but I can get around it because the story and the characters are just so incredible. And every single time a new volume comes out, I'm very excited to hop back into it, and this is no exception. Volume 4 has been staring at me and has been calling my name to get back into the series, and I can't wait to do so. And following that, we have Volume 5 of Candy and Cigarettes from 7 Seas. This has been an incredible ride and an incredible read. I can't wait to get back into it. This is just so good, and every volume does such a good job of leaving you on a cliffhanger, making you want more, making you want to keep reading to get more answers as to what exactly is going on. This manga just does so much right. If you guys aren't reading it, I would definitely suggest it. Outside of Volume 1 being a little weird, and if you know, you know, but it's really not that big a deal. Outside of that, this series is incredible and cannot be denied. After that, we have a series that I haven't read in a very long time, and I really think I should, and that is Kyururu Kill Me Volume 5. I have not read this in a very long time. I haven't read this since Volume 1, and at that time, I thought I was into it, and I was really interested into seeing what was going to happen in the future of the series, but I haven't read since, and it's been staring at me on my shelves like, hey, do you want to continue to pick this up? Do you want to read it? And I really should, because I'm not sure I'm going to be into this series. But like I said, I got to go ahead and give it a good old college try. Volume 1 was pretty good, and it was very interesting. I just got to continue and see where the story goes and how the plot develops. If there is a plot, I don't know yet. But I like the art. It is a Shonen Jump Plus manga, I believe. But it got licensed and printed by 7 Seas. So I'm a Shonen Jump stan. I love my Shonen Jump series, or anything from Shueisha. So I'm very interested to continue to read this. I need to get that extra push, that motivation to pick up the other volumes that I've been missing out on and catching up and seeing where I stand with the series. And another Shonen Jump Plus series that was published and licensed by 7 Seas in the States, we got Kimono Jihen Volume 7. Once again, I don't know anything about the series. I say it every single time I pick up a new volume, and I'm only picking them up because I heard some really good things about it from other manga tubers, and I will continue to pick it up until I get the motivation to read it. I know for a fact I'm going to enjoy this manga. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to enjoy this manga. It's just by getting that push and that extra motivation to pick it up off my shelves and to go ahead and binge through all of it. But as you guys know, I love to binge my series, so as long as I wait, to me, it's the better. But regardless of how long I wait, like I mentioned, I know I'm going to enjoy the series. Now moving on is the series that I have started, but I don't think I've even finished Volume 1. I think I'm like halfway through it, and that is Yokohama Kaidaishi Kiku Volume 3. This series is actually pretty short. I believe Volume 5 will be the final volume for the series, so I might just wait till then and then binge through all the volumes I currently have. But it is a very cute and calming and chill slice of life series that I only even started reading to keep myself calm before my most recent procedure that I had, and it definitely did its job. The first half of that volume I read was so calming and relaxed. It's definitely what I needed while I was sitting in that waiting room for my procedure. And even though I'm not typically into slice of life, this definitely did its job, and I am very interested in reading more. But I'm just going to wait, like I said, until I accumulate more volumes, until the series concludes, and then I'll binge it from there. But till then, it will sit patiently on my shelves, calling my name, waiting for me to pick it back up. And to follow that, we have a fairly popular series that has been getting a lot of traction lately, and that is Don't Call It Mystery. This is Omnibus 2 with Volumes 3 and 4. I read Volume 1, and it took me quite a while to read through it. I don't know what it is about the series, but I'm not completely into it. But I also didn't want to write it off just based off of the first volume. I know the first volume really started to hook me towards the end of it, and the final cliffhanger at the end of Omnibus 1 was enough to make me want to continue to read it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to give it another shot with Omnibus 2, which is Volumes 3 and 4 like I mentioned, and see where we go from there and see how I feel about it. I believe the problem I had with Volume 1 is that I had really, really high expectations for it, and it didn't really meet those expectations. But now that my expectations are slightly lowered, I think this has a better chance of hooking me and giving me a better experience based off of Volume 2. And the final volume I have from 7 Seas is a series that I still haven't read any of, but I keep mentioning I'm a huge fan of the anime, the Tokyo Revengers. Is this Omnibus 7 with Volumes 13 and 14? Yes, I'm almost positive this is Omnibus 7. I am still stockpiling these volumes. I haven't read any of it. I'm still pretty blind in terms of how the series is going. I haven't even watched the second season of the anime because I wanted to pick up more of these volumes and then binge them. But that time might be coming soon because this is another series in my collection that is staring me in the face and calling my name. And I'm super interested in getting into this and reading the manga and seeing how the source material compares to the first season of the anime. And I'm just super excited to get into it. The next up is also pretty fitting. I have 10 Ize Press volumes to show you all, starting off with Volume 2 of What This World Is Made Of. Volume 1 was very interesting and definitely captured my interest. I'm very excited to get into Volume 2 and see how the characters are developing, how the world continues to build, and see what this world is actually made of. You see what I did there? But nonetheless, like I said, Volume 1 was very interesting, and I'm very excited to get into Volume 2 and see where the story goes, because it was, I can't say it enough, and I say it a lot about the series, interesting is like one of my favorite words. If it is interesting, I'm going to say it's interesting. And a lot of the things that I read definitely are interesting, and they pique my interest. Alright, I gotta stop myself. Anyway, Volume 2 of What This World Is Made Up of, or What This World Is Made Of. Can't wait to get back into it. And then follow that, we have another series that was very intriguing. Yeah, see, I didn't say interesting that time. We have Volume 2 of Yokohama Station SF. This is actually a very short series. I believe Volume 3 is going to be the final volume. So I might wait until Volume 3 comes out to then binge Volume 2 and Volume 3. But Volume 1 definitely did its job. I was hooked. I was interested. I had questions that I wanted answers to. It did such a good job of just poking at my brain and saying, hey, like you want to know what's going on? And I definitely want to know what's going on. But I'm going to wait just a little longer until Volume 3 comes out so I can binge Volume 2 and 3 to conclude the series. But I'm super excited to see where this story goes. Now, another series I wasn't sure I was into, but it definitely is capturing my interest. That is Volume 3 of Oshinoko. I wasn't sure if I was going to continue to read this series. I wasn't sure if I was going to continue to pick it up. But like I said in the last series, it's doing enough to poke at my brain and make me ask these questions that I want answers to. So I'm going to continue to read and see where it goes and see how I feel about it. But it's like I have this weird thing with my brain where I know what I'm really interested in manga. And when series don't give me that but still pique my interest, it's like a love-hate relationship. It's like I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I don't like it. It's a weird thing, and it's hard for me to explain, and I will probably go more into detail with that with the next series I got from Ize Press, because this is when I realized that I had this weird thing in my brain. But definitely excited to continue to read the series and see where it goes, because I hear nothing but good things about it, and as long as it continues to pique my interest, as long as it continues to give me these questions that I want answers to, then in my eyes, it's doing its job. Now, like I was just saying, I got this weird thing in my brain that if it's not like a typical shonen goodness action manga with comedy and action, it's weird for me to really resonate in my head on if I enjoy that series, even though it's piquing my interest. And this is a series that got me really thinking about that. The Summer Hikaru Died. Weeks before this manga was even purchasable on Right Stuff, I was really diligent about it. I was like, do I want to pick this up? So I went out of my way, I found it online, and I started reading what was currently available online. Within what was considered the first volume of the series, I was like, what is this? What is going on? I wasn't sure I enjoyed it, but it was interesting enough and piqued my interest enough to continue to read. And I ended up reading everything that was currently translated or currently available online, and then I picked up Volume 1. And I still wasn't even sure if I wanted to continue to read it. I got caught up to what was available digitally, and I still did not know if I was interested in it. And that's when I realized that as long as the manga is interesting, and it continues to give me these questions that I want answers to, and continues to pique my interest, then it's something I should definitely continue to pick up and continue to read. Because in a way, I am enjoying it, but it's not me enjoying it in a way that I typically view. So I think it's really good for me to continue to pick up these series that I'm not sure I enjoy, but I am enjoying the reading experience itself, because it's allowing me to broaden my horizons and read new series that I typically wouldn't be into, because they're not the typical shonen action comedy manga that I absolutely love and adore and that got me into manga to begin with. But as long as, like I said, it's interesting, it's giving me these questions that I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's making me rattle my brain and try to understand and decipher what the series is trying to tell me or what the series is hiding. then it's definitely something that deserves to be in my collection and I should continue to read. I know it's weird and a very long-winded explanation to basically just say, it's interesting, I like it, you should read it. But it was just a weird experience for me to finally wrap my head around, like, enjoying a manga without even knowing that I'm enjoying a manga. It's very odd. I don't know how to explain it. All I know is that I'm definitely enjoying reading this series, as long as it continues to really rattle my brain, where I'm like, okay, what's going on? Now, following that is another series that I had a fairly similar experience, where once I saw it available for pre-order on Right Stuff, I was like, let me see what this is about and if I'm interested in picking it up. And I read only one chapter, and one chapter was all I needed to be like, yeah, that's going to be good. I'm into that. And that is Volume 1 of Toge Oni. All I needed was one chapter for me to get hooked and for me to be like, you know what, this concept I am super into. Now, I'll give you a bit of a synopsis. Based off of just simply my memory of me reading one chapter, man, like a month or so ago, maybe even longer than that. So it takes place in ancient feudal Japan. Or can I say ancient Japan? Ancient feudal? I don't know what I'm talking about. But it takes place in historical Japan. And it's following this girl who is part of a tribe that believes that they will be cursed if they don't make a sacrifice to their god. And unfortunately for her, she is labeled for sacrifice. But the day before she is supposed to be sacrificed, even though she has given up all hope and when she was ready to die for her village, she is visited by a priest and their two assistants that basically give her a new outlook and lease on life. And it was very freaking interesting. I'm very excited to see where the series goes. Like I said, one chapter was all I needed to be like, okay, this I can get into, and I cannot wait to read this volume. Now, back on the subject of broadening horizons, this next series I know zilch about, zero. I heard about a previous series from this mangaka, which was Lost Lad London, and I don't know anything about this series specifically, and that is Glitch Volume 1. I only looked at the art to see if the art itself was something I could get into, and I am a big fan of this art. Something about it really calls out to me, and I find it very interesting. I find it very appealing. That is kind of like, I don't want to say cartoony. It's very stylized. This is not something that you would typically see, in my opinion. But one of the only reasons why I picked this up is because I read the synopsis and found that it was a bit of a thriller mystery series. And the only reason I picked this up because of that synopsis was because of the summer Hikaru died. Once I read that and I realized that I am interested in these thriller mystery series, and I found another thriller mystery series that I can kind of get behind, I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and give it a shot. If I don't like it, it's no harm, no foul. At least I'm experimenting and I'm trying to broaden my horizons and see what I do or don't like. But I have very high hopes for the series because, like I said, these thriller mystery series that I typically did not think I was going to be into has been one of my most anticipated genres that I want to get into. And I cannot wait to experience all these crazy thriller mystery series that are available to me, since I haven't really been into them. And to follow that is a series that is definitely more up my alley, and I know I enjoy it, and that is Magical Girl Incident Volume 2. Volume 1, man, was so much fun to read. It was very funny, very interesting about this dude by mistake gets turned into a magical girl, and he doesn't understand how it happened. But it was such a fun read that I definitely had to pick up Volume 2, and I cannot wait to continue to read the series and see where it goes. And lastly, from Ize Press, it's a series that I've heard a lot of really good things about. And it kind of falls within that thriller mystery series that I've been saying I've been enjoying lately, and that is Coffee Moon Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. This is all that's currently out for Coffee Moon, and I believe Volume 4 is coming out in October, and I do have my pre-order out for it. I haven't read it quite yet, but the general synopsis that I got from other people who have read the series definitely piqued my interest. And all I heard is that it is basically a Groundhog Day manga. This girl is reliving the same day on her birthday over and over again, trying to figure out what's going on. And that's all I know about it. I saw a couple of panels from Volume 1 and I thought, oh god, this is gonna get good. Like the final, I don't know why I did this, but it was enough to get me hooked. I saw it at a store when I was out. I think it was like a book to million. I was just out with my friends. I decided to stop in and take a look at stuff. And I was flipping through the pages to see if I was interested enough in the art. And one of the final pages I saw was one hell of a cliffhanger. I don't know any of the context before. I don't know any of the context after. But that panel was enough to pique my interest to be like, hey, this is going to be good. So I decided to go ahead and pick up everything that was currently out. And like I've been saying, I cannot wait to get into this.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. So, hear me out. YouTube Analytics has shown me that over 95% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed. And that's mind-blowing. So if you're liking the content so far, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and of course hitting that bell notification so you don't miss out on anything I plan to put out in the future. Let's get back to the video. Now, the second to last publisher is one of my favorite publishers that continues to put out a bunch of manga that I'm very interested and excited to read. We got 27 volumes from Kodansha Comics. Starting off with a volume that I would have known nothing about if it wasn't for the Omnibus Collector. This wasn't on Right Stuff's website for pre-orders. I don't know if I mentioned it in my most recent video talking about the switch from Right Stuff to Crunchyroll, but I'm very diligent about my pre-orders. I go through my pre-orders every month to see what's coming out, and then I go from there. And this wasn't on there. And it wasn't until the Omnibus Collector put out his manga buys for October, I think it was? No, for September, that I learned about the series, and I was like, holy crap, how did this fly under my radar? And that is a DC Kodansha Comics collaboration, Batman Justice Busters Volume 1. This is one of 3 DC Kodansha Comics collaboration volumes that they released. I believe the other one is, what was it called? There's one about Joker and another one about Superman, and the Superman one is basically like a food manga where Superman's pastime when he's not busy, he likes to fly to Japan to try the foods over in Japan. And then the Joker one, I might be picking up soon because the concept is pretty interesting. It's about Joker who is taking care of a baby Bruce Wayne. That sounds pretty interesting. But this one was definitely the first one I picked up and I knew I wanted to get because the same artist, I don't think it's the same writer, but the same artist that draws this also draws Ultraman, which is a series I haven't gotten into quite yet, but I still have a lot of volumes in my collection. And the main reason why I picked it up was because of the art style. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of the art here. This is a good panel. This is what I bought this for. This art, I don't know what it is, but it freaking calls to me. Like, this is incredible. So I cannot wait to get into this. I am a huge Batman fan. One of the reasons I even got into manga was because before I got into manga, I was really into American comics. And the only American comics I had in my collection, I don't have them no more, but they were all Batman comics. And Batman New 52 with Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder is fucking chef's kiss. That comic line was, oh my god, it was incredible, and it got me into comic books. I kind of do want to get back into American comics and read some of the Batman comics that I didn't have access to previously, but till then, I think this is a pretty good consolation, and I cannot wait to get into it, like I mentioned, because this is going to be, if this is good, oh man, I'm going to have some trouble remaining diligent on not buying any American comics, because that is a slippery slope I do not want to slip down. Now, next up, we have a new series from Kodansha, and that is the Darwin Incident. Now, I don't know much about this. I believe, you know what, I'll go ahead and read the synopsis for you guys here. The Animal Liberation Alliance, an eco-terrorist organization, rescues a pregnant chimpanzee for an animal testing lab, only for it to give birth to a half-human, half-chimpanzee humanzee named Charlie. 15 years later, Charlie's human foster parents are finally ready to send him to a normal high school where he makes his first friend, a human girl named Lucy. In the meantime, however, the ALA's stance has become even more extreme, and now they're here to drag Charlie into the terrorist plot. That was enough to get me interested. I believe, I can't remember who made a video on it, but they were talking about manga that they were reading online, and that was going to be one of the next big things. And that's how I found out about the series way before it even came out in print. So when I finally saw it come out in print, I was like, you know what? I'm picking that up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it's about. But someone mentioned that it was good. I'm going to figure it out for myself. So I'm very excited to read this and give you guys my opinion on it and see how I feel about it. Because it's one of those manga that I hear a lot of really good things about. My expectations grow pretty high. So I'm hoping I'm not disappointed. But I think I'm going to like this one. Now moving on, we have a spin-off for a series that I haven't really gotten into yet, but I continue to pick up, and that is Seraph of the End. This is, what is it called again? The Gurren Ichiro's Catastrophe at 16. This, I believe, is the manga adaptation of the light novel series by the same name, and I haven't read anything from Seraph of the End. I continue to pick it up because I'm very interested in the plot, and I'm very interested in what the story has to offer, considering that it is I think it's like a post-apocalyptic, fairly post-apocalyptic story about where vampires are like running the world. And I've mentioned before, I am super into like the vampire tropes. So I just had to pick this up. And it's by Kodansha as opposed to Viz, which was a bit weird to me. But I'm not complaining. I'm just glad to get more of this series, more of this content revolving around vampires, because I don't typically have a lot of vampire series in my collection. I wouldn't mind adding more. And following that is a series that I know I am interested in. We have Volume 3 of Welcome to Demon School, Aruma-kun. I haven't read Volume 2, I'm behind, and I can't wait to read Volume 2 and 3. This series definitely captured my attention just from Volume 1. And this series, I think I mentioned it before, is super popular. Like in Japan, they're on like Volume 30-something. And from what I've seen, I didn't really spoil myself. I just wanted to see how the art evolves. And holy crap! The art in the later volumes, oh, chef's kiss. It is so freaking good. So I have this predetermined expectation that not only is the story going to be good, but the art is progressively going to get incredible. And I cannot wait to see that in English print. Now, back on the subject, a spin-off series of original series that I haven't read yet. We have Shaman King Flowers Volume 4. I don't know where I heard this, but I believe Volume 5 is going to be the final volume of Shaman King Flowers until we get yet another spin-off for Shaman King. So I really need to get into Shaman King, get caught up, so I can get caught up to this before it concludes, or when it finally concludes, or at least before the next spin-off starts getting released in English. If it does. I'm hoping it does. Cross my fingers. Because I love the Shaman King art. I think the concept of Shaman King is incredible. My brother speaks very, very highly of Shaman King. He is a huge fan of the anime remake. So I got very high hopes for Shaman King, and I know for a fact I'm going to enjoy it. Because it's that typical shonen goodness. I mean, the original series was printed by Viz way back in the day. Like, I know I'm going to enjoy it. It's definitely up my alley. I just got to make the commitment to pick it up and read it. Now, a series that I've had zero problems picking up and committing myself to read is Go-Go Loser Ranger. We got Volume 6 here. I'm caught up. Volume 6 I haven't read quite yet. Typically, I read it the moment it arrives at my house, and I didn't do that with this. Because like I said, I'm a bit of a manga reading burnout, but oh man, are those fires are burning hot right now, and I can't wait to get back into reading. And this is definitely towards the top of the list of things I need to get caught right back up to. This series is incredible, and I'm not going to say much because I talk very highly of it in every single freaking haul that it appears in. All I will say is if you're not reading it, get into it. It is an incredible, incredible series. Now, if we're back on that subject of series that I continue to pick up, and I haven't read the original series of, we have Volume 9 of The Four Knights of the Apocalypse. This is going to get read soon, and you'll see why in a little bit. But I will continue to pick this up, and I will patiently wait until I read the original 7 Deadly Sins so that I can enjoy this as well. And when I finally do, I know it's going to be such an incredible experience. But till then, it will continue to stare me in the face and be like, hey, you got to pick me up and read me. I'm going to, and I know I'm going to enjoy it. I know it. This art for 7 Deadly Sins is some of my favorite art in manga, and I can't even explain to you as to why, but I just love this crap so freaking much. And I am so fond of the 7 Deadly Sins anime, so I'm going into the 7 Deadly Sins manga with very, what's the word I'm looking for? Rose-colored shades. Like, I know for a fact I'm going to enjoy the source material of what was one of my favorite animes and one of my like comfort animes for quite a while. So, like I said, I'm gonna wait until I finally get all of the original 7 Deadly Sins and get caught up, and then I'm hopping right into this. Now, we're staying on that subject of series that has spin-offs that I'm picking up, and I haven't read the original series, but it's the same reason. We have Volume 13 of Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. Same reason why I'm picking that up is because I'm very, very fond of the Fairy Tail anime. One of my favorite anime, again, I like, I guess, bad anime. People don't typically have like really good things to say about 7 Deadly Sins or Fairy Tail, but I just love them. And it's like my comfort anime. I have such fond memories of watching them at some of my lowest points in my life, and them helping me just bring a smile to my face and feel a little bit better, and that means a lot to me. So I'm just going to continue to pick this series up and wait until I read the original run, which, when will it happen? I don't know. 64 volumes is a pretty daunting task, but I know I'm going to enjoy it, and I know I'm going to enjoy this. It's just a matter of when I'm going to read it, because I already know I'm going to enjoy it. And moving on, we have Volume 16 of Orient. I still have not read any of this because I'm still waiting to get all of my Magi volumes together. I'm still missing 8 and 10. I'm starting to believe that it's not ever going to happen. I gotta find a way to find it. I don't know how I'm going to, but I need to find it because I really want to read Magi before I get into Orient, even though they have nothing to do with each other. But I just want to read Shinobu Utaka's first work that I was introduced to. I really enjoyed the Magi anime, and I really want to read the source material. And like I said, it has nothing to do with Orient. I just really badly want to read it. And when I finally read that is when I'm going to hop into Orient. I know some people dropped the series. They got back into the series. I think some are dropping it again. I'm just going to continue to pick it up and continue to add it to my collection because I know for a fact I'm going to enjoy it. Volume 1 was very good, in my opinion. It's that typical shonen goodness that I keep talking so highly about. Just right up my alley. I don't know what else to say. Now, speaking of manga that is right up my alley, we have Volume 25, or is it 24? Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Volume 24 of Eden's Zero. Hiro Mashima, I've mentioned it before, is one of my goats. I love Fairy Tail. I love Eden Zero. I'm very much behind by like 14 volumes now, but I'm accumulating more and more volumes, and I'm going to binge it at some point. I don't know when exactly, but I will happily hoard more of these volumes so that I have a bigger bit to binge, because I enjoyed those first 10 volumes so much, and I cannot wait to get back into the series. But I say I cannot wait. I'm fairly patient. I could definitely wait because the binge is going to be so worth it. Speaking of series that I need to binge, or probably not need to, but want to binge, you have Noragami Volume 26. I don't know when the series is coming to a close. 26 is quite a few volumes, and I have no idea when this plans to end. But Noragami is one of those series that I hear nothing but incredible things about. Anyone who has read Noragami has nothing but incredible things to say about it. So it's one of those series that I will continue to hoard and collect, and when I finally get that motivation to read, I know I'm going to enjoy, just based off of what everyone has to say about it, and they speak very highly of it. Now, lastly, before we get into the bigger trim sizes from Kodansha, we have the 7 Deadly Sins box set. I believe this is 5? Yeah. Box set 5. We have one more box set, and then I'm reading these bad boys, and I cannot wait. I was just telling you, I'm waiting to read all of this before I get into Four Nights of the Apocalypse. One more box set. One more, and then I'm binging the crap out of this. This has been on my TBR, and I've been waiting for this to conclude for a very long time, and I cannot wait to get that last box set. Granted, it's going to take half an eternity because that's what it felt like waiting for box set 5 to come out. But like I said, I can't wait. I cannot wait to get into the series. It's going to be such an incredible experience. Now we get the larger trim size from Kodansha, starting off with Volume 1 of Windbreaker. This is something I've had my eye on for quite a while, way before it was even introduced in print. I can't remember where, I think it was like a podcast from Kodansha Comics themselves, talking about some of their newest releases or some of their newest series. And this was on their website for a while. It was available digitally, of course, before it was available in print. And on one of their podcasts, I think it was a podcast or a YouTube video, I don't know where exactly I found it, But some of the people that work at Kodansha were talking about this, and just hearing them talk about it got me very interested. If you guys have heard me talk about before, I am interested in delinquent manga. For some reason, it definitely piques my interest. I think it has something to do with that typical shonen goodness, or even if it's seinen like The Breaker, that delinquent, like Yakuza type manga with dudes just beating the crap out of each other is definitely my cup of tea, as I've mentioned before. So this is one of the series that is a delinquent manga, action oriented, and the concept seems like it's so interesting. I believe this is the main character. He just chooses to go to a school that's previously known for being super delinquent, where all the delinquents go, and his goal was to be the strongest person there. He wanted to be the strongest delinquent. But when he gets there, he finds out that everyone's pretty chill, and all the delinquents there, I think it's like they commit themselves to protecting the neighborhood from other rival gangs. That's so up my alley. That's kind of like Tokyo Revengers, for the most part, where it's a bunch of like gang wars. But it's definitely up my alley, definitely interesting, and I cannot wait to read this first volume and tell you guys how I feel about it. Now, this is a series that I have read, well, at least the first volume, and the first volume, oh my god, did its job. We have Tsugumi Project Volume 2. Volume 1 did its job so well. I was so invested, I was so interested, the art was incredible, it captured every ounce of my being. The story was very intriguing about all of these, I believe they are prisoners or inmates being delivered to a post-apocalyptic Japan looking for a secret weapon. There's just so much that this does right. Definitely freaking piqued my interest, and I believe this is also a very short series. I think this ends at 5. So I might wait until all 5 volumes come out to read this, because like I've mentioned, I keep saying it, I love binging my series, and this was definitely super freaking good. Volume 1 was incredible, so I might wait. It's just going to take every ounce of my being not to read Volume 2, but I might wait, because this series did, like I said, it did its job. I was so hooked after Volume 1, and if I have any other recommendation in this video, this is definitely it. You guys have to read Tsugumi Project. It is so freaking good. Now, a very common subject here of series I haven't read yet but keep picking up. Shangri-La Frontier Volume 7. Oh man, this is just another series that I look at and I'm like, I know I'm going to enjoy that. I just keep picking it up. Haven't read any of it yet. Definitely feel like I need to soon. I don't hear much of anyone talking about the series anymore. I believe like the few people have heard talk about it have said that it's pretty good. It's keeping up. But what's really keeping me interested, let me see if we can find a good panel, is this art. I'm such a sucker for good art. You could give me a mediocre story with subpar characters, but if your art is incredible, I'm just going to enjoy it regardless. I'm a very easy man to please, for the most part. There's some things that I kind of just can't get past, but a fairly easy man to please. So the art and the concept of this is definitely continuing to pique my interest. I just haven't read any of it yet, but I will soon. And regardless of how long it takes me, I will get to it. I promise you. Now next up we got some heat. I know all of you have been digging this series and the anime. We got Blue Lock Volume 8. This is something I know for a fact I need to pick up and start reading again. I only read Volume 1 and Volume 1 was the cream of the crop. I was so hooked after Volume 1. And I keep saying I like to binge my series, and that's why I haven't read much after Volume 1. But it's definitely, it's getting up there. The more volumes I pick up, the more interested and the more excited I am to read more. More of this, more of that. The point is, I cannot wait to get back into the series and continue to read it, because I know I'm going to enjoy it. And it's incredible story, it's incredible art. This concept is just amazing. I know everyone is super into it right now, and I myself am as well, just based off of 1 volume. Moving on to another series that I'm really behind on, but I have read quite a bit of it. We have Witch Hat Atelier Volume 11. This comes out so slow, painfully slow, but I don't mind it because I am taking my time on getting back into it. I can't remember where I left off. I believe I left off at Volume 8, maybe 6, somewhere around there. But this series is incredible. The art is amazing, the paneling is top notch, the story, the world building, everything about this series is incredible. I don't give many recommendations. I've already given 2 this video. Let this be the 3rd, and I'm sure you guys are getting the same recommendations from almost everybody else in the community. Witch Hat Atelier is incredible, and it deserves your attention. Definitely get into it. Let me show you some of this incredible art. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me find a good panel here. That doesn't involve spoilers, that is. Here, screw it. This art is incredible, and you definitely need to read it to also appreciate the paneling, because the paneling in terms of what's going on in the story, like I said, it is top-notch. It is next level. This series definitely holds my favorite, like the award for my favorite paneling. I mean, and it's an award winner. Rightfully so. Get into this if you haven't yet. Quick note, if that series gets an anime, that anime is going to blow the frick up. Like, holy crap. I cannot praise Witch Hat Atelier enough. It is amazing. The next up is a series that just came off of hiatus. We have a volume 12 of Lander the Illustrious. And this is it's a fairly thick volume. I don't know if it's as thick as the other ones, but this was on hiatus for a very long time. I've had the first 11 volumes for quite a while, and I've only read volume 1, but it was interesting enough for me to continue to pick it up, and I'm going to binge the first 12 volumes fairly soon. I hear nothing but incredible things about this. Like, the amount of praise this series gets is about as much praise as I just gave Witch Hat Atelier. I hear amazing things about this, and it's very freaking unique. I want to show you guys some art, but there looks like there's some spoilerly ass spoilers here. I don't know if this is a spoiler. I'm sorry if it is, but the art is incredible. It's very freaking unique. So I definitely want to get to this very soon. Like, interesting series that aren't typically my cup of tea has been like the peak of my interest lately, outside of like Manhwa, which I was mentioning earlier. Manhwa's been the peak of my interest as well. But like series that I'm like, I don't know if I'm into it, that's what I want to freaking read. This is definitely up there. And back on the subject of series that I continue to pick up and haven't read yet, Gleipnir Volume 13. I read the first volume and thought it was wild, and I haven't read any since, but I will continue to pick this up and continue to stockpile it so that I can binge it. But I might be getting there fairly soon. I don't know when the series ends, but I think I might wait until Volume 15 and then binge all 15 volumes that I currently have to see how I feel about it. But I feel like it's definitely up my alley. It's an action manga with some crazy concepts, has some weird things going on. In the first volume, if you've read Gleipnir, then you know what I mean. The first volume was odd, but it was odd enough to capture my interest and get me hooked. Just off of one volume, it definitely got me hooked, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And if I'm asking what the hell is going on, you got me. I'm interested. Now, the second to last volume is yet another series that is a cult classic at this point, and that is Volume 22 of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. This is a series that I continue to pick up because I was given the first 7 volumes from my friend Warlord Mudkip, and he speaks very, very highly of this series. It's one of his favorite, and I trust his opinion a lot. He is the same person that got me into Siren. He's the same person that got me into Busco Renkin. The same person that got me into Roger Vampire, Claymore. There's so many series that I have enjoyed that he's gotten me into. So his recommendation for me goes a very, very long way. So I haven't read any of it yet, but I know I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm very excited to get into it when I finally do. And lastly, from Kodansha, we have an amazing release, Volume 3 of the hardcover, full color, that's a mouthful, volumes of Parasite. And these are such good freaking releases. These books are quality, and the full color art is amazing. I don't like the way that cracked, but it is amazing. I'm waiting to get all 8 of these hardcovers, and the 8 hardcovers are going to look so good on the shelves because they're going to spell out Parasite. As you can see, this is the R volume, and I have the other 2, the PA volumes, which is weird to explain. But there's going to be 8 hardcovers. You're going to spell out Parasite on your shelves. That's going to be an amazing display. But I hear nothing but good things about Parasite. It is a cult classic. Cult classic. It's an older series. And I was just about to get into the paperbacks. Like, I was just going to buy like a set of paperbacks secondhand on a third-party website or something like that. And then right before I bought them, they announced that they're going to be releasing the full-color hardcover editions. And I was like, okay, that's how I want to enjoy and experience Parasite. And I cannot wait to do so. So when I finally get all 8, I'm binging the crap out of it, and then I want to get into the anime. I hear the anime is also incredible. Now, my favorite publisher and the publisher I typically get the most from, and this haul is no exception. We have 29 volumes from Viz Media, and off the top we have a classic that I honestly thought I was never going to get my hands on, Akira Toriyama's Sandland. When this got restocked, I was blown away. I had no idea why or how or what the reason behind it was. I just jumped on it and bought it. After I placed my order, I started to realize why. Sandland was announced to have a video game coming out and also is getting a movie. So I think to capitalize on those 2 products coming out, they wanted to re-release the manga as well. So I had to pick it up. Akira Toriyama has a very special place in my heart because of his job of basically creating my childhood with Dragon Ball. So anything that he has that is available in English, I want to cop. Whether it's Sandland, Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater, any of the Dragon Ball series. I wish they would give us, what was it called? Oh man, I can't remember. I'll put it right here. This, I can't remember what it's called. This, the little vampire dude. I want that as well. But until then, I'm cool with having this as a consolation prize. This is definitely getting read very, very soon. It's a single volume. It's a one-shot. And I know it's going to be... It's just... I know it's going to be incredible. And it's going to be incredible for nostalgic reasons, even though I never experienced it personally. Akira Toriyama's art is just like that to me. It's just nostalgic. It's just... hits the right places. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, what?
Oh, that didn't come out right. Pause. Hold on. Let me reword that. It hits you right in the feels. Let's put it that way. Alright, now moving down from that awkwardness, we have a new series that I hear a lot of really good things about, and I can't wait to get into it. You have Volume 1 of Akane Banashi. It's about Rakugo, which is a traditional style of storytelling in Japan. I've heard about Rakugo before. I've never seen any Rakugo or experienced any Rakugo. This will be my first introduction to Rakugo. And since it's a Viz manga, I have very high hopes for it because they do a really good job of interesting me in stuff that I wouldn't typically be interested in. And this is going to be no exception. I hear nothing but good things about it, so I'm very, very excited to get into this volume. I'm definitely going to let you guys know how I feel about it. And if it's incredible, trust me, I'm going to let you know that it's incredible. And following that, we have yet another Volume 1. This one is from a fairly familiar mangaka. We have Blade of the Moon Princess Volume 1. This is the same mangaka that has brought us Spy Family, Tista, and this is yet another one of their works that are being published in English and given to us in the States. I believe it's because the popularity of Spy Family has skyrocketed and has gotten way bigger than they expected. So they want to make as much money off of that mangaka's name as they can. And look, you got me. Keep giving me his works, and I will continue to give you my money. Don't know anything about this. His name's attached to it, and that's the only reason I needed to get it. Tista was not bad. It wasn't the best, but I got it because of this mangaka's name, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. I enjoyed it, and that's all that matters. So I got pretty high hopes for this one because I got a feeling I'm going to enjoy it. And back on the subject of Viz Media getting me interested in stuff that I typically wouldn't be interested in, we have Shoha Shoten Volume 3. I didn't think I would be into a manga about stand-up comedy, especially a manga about stand-up comedy that is translated from Japanese to English, so not everything is going to land, but it's such a good series. It does such a good job of explaining the ins and outs of stand-up comedy, of sketch comedy, of like, I'm pretty into comedy, not like a huge comedy buff, but I do like a good comedy special here and there. Some of my favorite movies are comedy, some of my favorite reading material is comedy. So seeing the ins and outs in the thought process and the science of stand-up comedy and sketch comedy and all this other stuff was super interesting. The characters are what really make this story so freaking good. And if you guys aren't reading it, I would definitely suggest giving Volume 1 a shot. And if you're not into it after Volume 1, maybe it's not for you, because Volume 1 was all I needed to get interested and really being like, okay, what is this story going to be about? Where are they going to go from here? How are they going to progress? But it's that typical shonen goodness minus the action, all comedy. And it managed to hook me. And I cannot wait to read more. Plus, let me mention, the artist behind this is the same artist that brought us Death Note, Bakuman, what was the other one? Platinum End, All You Need Is Kill. Takeshi Obata's art is incredible. So if you're a fan of Takeshi Obata's art, you're going to like this. We're going to stay on that subject of Viz Media getting me interested in something I'm typically not interested in, and that is Dark Gathering. This is like a body horror, like body dysmorphia horror, kind of, I guess. I guess not. But the thing I found the creepiest about it is what this person has going on with his arm. Like his hand, that was what I found the nastiest, like the creepiest. Like I did not like looking at it. I don't know why, but it's one of those things. It's like, I don't like looking at it. I can't stop looking at it. I don't know. I don't want to look at it. I can't stop looking at it. And it was so simple. It's just this weird thing I got. I don't know. It's weird. I didn't like looking at it, but I couldn't stop looking at it. This is a horror manga. Not typically my cup of tea, but Volume 1 was really interesting. I'm behind. I haven't read Volume 2, and now we got Volume 3, so I got a decent chunk of volumes to go ahead and binge through, and I cannot wait to get back into it and see where the story's going, where the plot's developing. I'm excited to see what else Viz has to offer, and this is one of those series that, like I said, I'm not typically into this kind of stuff, but Viz Media manga definitely gets me interested in stuff I'm not typically into. So, like I said, cannot wait to read more. Now, this I do know about. I am interested in it, and this is the final volume of Ayashimon Volume 3. This series was canceled, predetermined. Is predetermined the right word? It was canceled before Yuji Kaku wanted it to be canceled, I'm sure. And it definitely feels rushed at this point. Volume 2 definitely felt rushed. I wish it wasn't canceled. I can understand why it was. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it, and the reviews are mixed. I'm on the side of the fence that really, really enjoys the series and wish it wasn't canceled so early because it had a lot of potential. But I like that typical shonen goodness. The character was kind of one-dimensional, but I liked him. The plot and the development of everything, of course, wasn't going to be as good as we were hoping because it's getting rushed. But like I said, I was into this, and I am still into this, and I cannot wait to read Volume 3. And I'm going to hold on to this series for quite a while, regardless of how it ends, because even though it didn't have much to offer, it was enough to offer me to keep me interested, and it's definitely up my alley. Like I said, it's, as Daniel Pepper should put it, it's that I'm going to punch that guy type of manga. It's right up my alley. Now, to follow that, we have a series that I believe, like half a volume behind. I'm still reading it. It's actually in my bag right now because I've been taking it to work. I'm trying to finish it. Let me just go ahead and talk about it. Yeah, Yoshikuro Family, Volume 6. I'm on Volume 5. This series definitely surprised me. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, and I definitely enjoy it now much more than I expected. The plot development's been getting crazy. Our main character here, Taiyo Asano, I believe is his name, gets married into a assassin family, and towards I think it's like Volume 3 or Volume 4, we start getting tidbits of his past and how his family somehow was involved with the Yuzakura family that he got married into because of his wife now, but his female interest in Volume 1. But he gets married into this family after the first volume, and like I said, Volume 3 or 4, we start learning about his actual direct family and the link between his family and the Yuzakura family, which was incredible to read about, and that plot is still developing, and it is so good to see. It's not what I expected it to be at all, and I didn't expect it to go in that direction, but it was a pleasant surprise. So I'm very excited to see where the story goes. I'm very excited to continue to read more. Moving on is the series I'm also kind of behind on. We have Volume 8 of The Elusive Samurai. I'm not going to talk about this too much because I can yab on for days about this manga. It just does so much right, and it's definitely one of those manga that is up my alley. It's a samurai manga. It's historical. It's somewhat historical accurate, of course, with its own original fictional things added to it, but in my eyes, it is such a good manga, and I can't wait to continue to read more. Alright, now we're moving on to some heat. We have Sakamoto Days Volume 9. Not to say that The Elusive Samurai isn't heat, but this is some heat that everyone can get behind. The Elusive Samurai seems to be somewhat on the fence with a lot of people in the community. I don't hear much about The Elusive Samurai, but Sakamoto Days seems to be at the top of everyone's list. Everyone loves it, and I cannot wait to read Volume 9. Volume 8 was incredible. The series is just getting better and better, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for the series. like I said, it's just getting better and better. And to follow that is another amazing series that just recently got an anime. We have Mashal, Magic and Muscles Volume 13. The series is coming to an end soon. I'm not going to wait for it to conclude to read every volume. I'm reading these volumes as they come out. So Volume 13 is definitely going to get read very soon, especially since how Volume 12 ended. Shit's getting real, and I cannot wait to see where this series goes. Alright, this next series I'm definitely not going to spend too much time on because I don't know anything about it. I can't say anything about it. That is Boruto Volume 17. I'm picking it up because of Naruto. I still haven't gotten caught up to Naruto. Oh my god, I'm going to get crucified for this. I've only watched the first half of Naruto. I haven't watched any Shippuden. Okay, I know. Oh, hold on. Put your pitchforks away. Hear me out. I don't really got an excuse. I haven't continued it. What reason, I don't know. The motivation to do so is there, but not really there. I want to go back and watch Shippuden, but I more importantly want to read all of the manga and then go back and watch Shippuden. But I think I've mentioned this before. I've watched more Boruto than I have Shippuden, and I really, really like the Boruto anime. Crucify me, okay? You can bring the pitchforks back out. I know. It's not a popular opinion, but I've been picking up manga because of Naruto, and also because the Boruto anime is pretty good, in my opinion. Now, this next series you can't crucify me for. You don't even have to take your pitchforks out. Dragon Ball Super. Peak. I mean, probably. I've only got caught up to the Dragon Ball Super anime. Actually, no. I watched the anime, and I keep forgetting about this. I watched the anime, and then I read up to the conclusion of the Moro arc, but haven't read anything since because I wanted to read it physically, and I haven't gone back since. So I'm really behind. But I love Dragon Ball. Like I was saying, Akira Toriyama's stories and arts are very nostalgic to me. And even though this isn't Akira Toriyama's art, it is definitely his story, and the art isn't too far off from what Akira Toriyama typically does. But it's Dragon Ball. It's, oh my god, it's so nostalgic for me. It's one of my favorite anime and manga of all time. For nostalgic reasons, put them away. You don't, no, get out of here. Pitchforks away. You cannot hate me for having a nostalgic bias. And I will for as long as I live. Because this is peak to me. And I absolutely love Dragon Ball, and I will continue to love Dragon Ball. But I'm behind, and I need to get caught up, for sure. Now, this, okay, you know what? Actually, it might not be a popular opinion anymore. Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 20. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. I haven't read this volume yet, but I typically read these volumes the moment they arrive. I'm just trying to get caught up on Mission Yuzakura Family and Volume 7 of The Elusive Samurai, and then this is the next one on my list to get caught up on. Same with Sakamoto Days Volume 9. I'm trying to read and get caught up on these because I typically read them the moment they get on my door, like I said. But I love Jujutsu Kaisen. The anime is incredible. I started rewatching the anime with my sister, who got introduced to the anime with Demon Slayer, and then she started getting into anime from there. She started the daunting task of watching One Piece and has been super into it. Which is more than I can say I've done. I think I'm like episode 60 or 90 or something on the anime, and only read the first box set of the manga for One Piece. But she's been getting into it. She loves it, and every Tuesday we get together to watch Ahsoka because we are huge Star Wars fans. And then after Ahsoka, we watch the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and we're trying to get her caught up to where it's currently at right now. And I haven't watched anything from season 2 quite yet. And I can't wait to experience it with my siblings all together. My brother's caught up on it. He loves it. But I'm waiting for me and my sister and my brother to catch up to where we are in season, or to catch up with season 1, which I've watched. And then we're going to get into season 2, and I'm going to be experiencing it for the first time. But the manga itself, to me, is one of my favorite ongoing manga. It's not my favorite, not the absolute favorite. My absolute favorite right now is Black Clover, and that's been it's been taking a while for Volume 33 to come out. But a close second is definitely Jujutsu Kaisen. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. It is incredible, and I know right now it's not a very popular opinion because I think like people are like, the Culling Games is currently going on, and not a lot of people are fans of the Culling Games. It is very freaking confusing. If you're not keeping up with it, you kind of have to like go back and read previous volumes or previous chapters or whatever the case may be. It's confusing as all hell. Regardless, I love this series, and if you guys haven't given it a shot, definitely try it and see how you feel about it. Man, this is going to be a long video. I just realized how much I've been yapping. yapping about all these series, but I'm gonna keep on yapping because we have volume 25 of World Trigger. You like that transition? Anyway, I still haven't read anything on this manga. I know, okay. Pitchfork's out. Rah, rah. The anime is what really got me hooked on this series, and I don't know if the anime ever came back from what I watched, because it's been a while since I watched it, and I probably won't go back to watch it for quite a while if they did come back, because I want to read the manga. It's one of those things, again, where it's like, it's on my TBR, I really want to read it, but the motivation to do so isn't quite there yet. Other things are higher up on my TBR, but I'm going to read this at some point when I don't know, but I know for a fact I'm going to enjoy it, because this concept, the story, the characters, everything about World Trigger definitely piques my interest, and I can't wait to get into it. And I guess I can wait because I haven't yet, but you get the point. It's definitely up there, and I want to read it so bad. Just other things are definitely piquing my interest much more than this right now. Now, moving on, we have a manga that everyone loves, and you know you do as well. You have One Punch Man Volume 26. This is yet another series that I typically read the moment the volume arrives on my doorstep. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I have a lot of stuff I'm currently reading right now. But this is definitely up there with Jujutsu Kaisen, with Sakamoto Days, with all that. This is getting read very soon. I hear nothing but incredible, incredible things as to what's going on currently in the series on the Viz Media app. And this is like quite a few chapters behind. Like, compared to what's currently coming out with the chapters on the Viz Media app, I know it's like, I think the chapters come out monthly, and these volumes come out like twice a year, I think? Or, is it that exaggerated? No, I think it's like every 4 months, maybe a little bit longer. No, I think it's like twice a year. How many chapters are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. These come out like twice a year, so they come out very, very slow. But nonetheless, it is an incredible series. And I'll wait that long. It doesn't bug me. This is not one of those series that I'll wait until it's concluded so that I can binge it. No, I wait until a volume comes, I read it, and then I patiently wait for another volume. But it's definitely worth it. One Punch Man is incredible. Alright, back on the subject of series that I keep picking up, haven't read yet. We got volume 26 of Kaguya-sama, Love is War. This is ending soon, I think. I think this is wrapping up very, very soon. And I'm definitely going to wait until it wraps up to then binge it. I hear nothing but great things about the series. I read volume 1, thought it was very interesting, very wordy as well, but very interesting. But this series gets so much hype and praise that even though I know next to nothing about it, I couldn't help myself but continue to pick it up because I know it's so highly regarded that I have such high expectations for it that I got a feeling I'm going to enjoy it. Even though it's not something I typically am into. It's a rom-com. But like I said, Viz Media does a really good job of capturing my interest in things that I'm not typically interested in. So this is a series, like I said, I'm waiting for it to conclude, and I'm binging through all of it. It's going to take me a while because, like I said, it is very wordy. But like I said, very, very high hopes for this manga. Now, this next series I'm extremely behind on. I can't remember when I stopped reading it. At one point I did, but we got volume 35 of My Hero Academia. I haven't read any of my physical volumes. I read a lot of it online on the Shonen Jump app, and for a while I was caught up. But now I know I'm behind. I flipped through this volume, I was like, holy crap, I don't remember that happening, and I stopped flipping immediately. Because I was getting into spoiler territory. I can't remember where I stopped, and I'm afraid to tell you guys where I stopped, because it's definitely spoiler territory as well. But I'm behind now. And like I was saying before, I think I'm waiting for this series to conclude before I get caught back up. If that takes too long, I'm definitely re-binging what I currently have and possibly getting caught up on the Shonen Jump app after that as well. But My Hero is another one of those series that is one of my favorite ongoing series currently. I have very fond memories of watching the anime for the first time, very fond memories of reading the manga online for the first time. So I love this series and I can't wait for it to conclude. But it seems like it's going to be taking a while. But the series is incredible. I am a fan. I'm not one of the toxic fans. I am a fan. Don't get it twisted. Now, this next series I am caught up to, besides this current volume, we have Helk Volume 5. This series very much surprised me, I think is the best way to describe it. I bought Volume 1 kind of like not expecting much from it. But Volume 1 was interesting enough for me to buy Volume 2. And Volume 2 was enough for me to buy Volume 3. And then Volume 3 is when I got hooked. Volume 3 was where I was like, holy crap, this is going somewhere. The story and the plot development, everything about it is much more than I expected it to be. I expected it to be just a little gag manga. That is not what this is at all. This has such a good developing plot, story, characters are incredible. There's so much going on and so much that this manga does right that I did not expect for it to reach those types of heights. But I am so glad and pleasantly surprised that I picked this up, and even though I was blind, I picked it up and I'm enjoying it. It's hard for me to talk about it. I'm enjoying it much more than I expected myself to. So if you guys haven't given this a shot, definitely do so. It will surprise you, or maybe you know about it already and you know you like it and it won't surprise you. Then in that case, why don't you have it yet? But if you don't know anything about it, you haven't tried it yet, please give it a shot. This manga deserves much more traction than it currently has. Speaking of manga that deserves much more traction than it currently has, I've talked about it on many occasions. Call of the Night, yet another series that once it arrives on my doorstep, I read it immediately. I'm behind currently because I'm behind on a lot. I haven't read a lot, but I'm getting back into it. I cannot wait to read this volume. This is the series, and I keep mentioning, that got me into rom-com, and then I realized, oh crap, nothing else is like this. This is such a good rom-com with some mystery and thriller elements behind it. The plot is developing very nicely. It's adding so many different story elements that I didn't expect the series to have. It does take a while to get into it, though. I will warn you. I think for me personally, it took me up to like volume 5 for me to really get invested into it. Because I bought like the first 6 volumes before I started reading it. But I started to get really hooked when they started to describe how the vampire community, or like whatever you would call it, the vampire society works, the rules behind it, what's going on. That's when I started to really get interested in it, and I'm so glad that I continued to read it because it's been getting better and better with each and every volume. So like I said, I definitely, this is another recommendation to you, just like Helk. If you haven't started it, give it a shot. I am so confident that it will capture your attention. It might take a while, and I know it taking a while isn't exactly the best way to describe it, but hey, it's better than me telling you to read One Piece and telling you to watch One Piece and then say, oh, it gets good at like 500 episodes. No, this is only 5 volumes before it really hooked me personally, but it might hook you much sooner. Moving on, I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up and kill 2 birds with 1 stone real quick. Both of these volumes I haven't read, and both of these series I haven't started yet. I guess I have started one of them, but we got Mal Volume 13 it is, and Komi Can't Communicate Volume 26. I am 24 volumes behind on this, and 13 volumes behind on this. Haven't read this yet. I was mentioning it before that the art style to me is very nostalgic because of Rumiko Takahashi's work. Inuyasha was the first manga I ever read, so just seeing the art is very nostalgic for me. It's kind of like Akira Toriyama's art, where I'm enjoying it and I want to see it and I want to read it, all because of the name attached to it and the way it looks. It's very nostalgic, like I said. And Komi Can't Communicate, I'm behind on. Very behind on. I need to get caught up, but I keep picking this up because it is my friend Warlord Kip's one of his favorite series. He absolutely loves it. But it's not typically my cup of tea. But Viz Media tends to get me interested in stuff that is not typically my cup of tea. It was just a bit of a struggle for me. The first 2 volumes, first volume was cute, second volume I started to fall asleep on. And I haven't read since. And it's been a daunting task to ask myself and try to get myself to get back into it. Because that's 24 more volumes of me 24 more volumes for me to get into and get caught up. And I'm kind of afraid. I'm kind of afraid that it's not going to provide the type of stimulation I need to stay interested. But I'm willing to give it a shot. It's just a bit much to ask right now. Now, next up, we have a new series from a mangaka that definitely captured my attention, and that is Heart Gear by, what is the mangaka's name? Is it on the back here? No. Tsuyoshi Takai. This mangaka brought us Black Torch. Black Torch was a canceled manga that's only 5 volumes, but I read those 5 volumes, I believe, like 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, something like that. But Black Torch was definitely enough to capture my attention. It was one of those manga that, even though it was canceled, I was so sad to see go. It had so much potential, and the art is incredible. Black Torch to me was so freaking good. So when I heard that mangaka had a new series that was being serialized, Oh, dude, I can't tell you. My ears perked up, and I cannot wait to read this volume. I cannot wait to get into the series and see what they have to provide, because let me see if they have any really good panels here. The art is incredible. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The art is incredible. But I can't wait to get into this. I can't say that enough. I'll let you know how good it is when I finally read it. Now, we are revisiting that subject of series I did not know I was into, but realized that I was. Boys of Abyss Volume 2. I almost dropped this series reading it online after the first 3 chapters. I thought, what the hell is going on? But like I was mentioning before, about the summer Hikaru died, I realized that type of interest to me, the whole what's going on, like leaving me on cliffhangers, really trying to wrap my head around what's going on in the series, is a certain level of interest that I'm not previously used to. So this definitely piqued my interest in that same part of my brain where I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I had to keep reading to find out. I can't remember how far into the series I read online, but I literally could not stop myself once I started. I read a crap ton of this. Maybe like 90 chapters or so. I think like chapter 90 is like 6 volumes in or something like that. I don't know. But all I know is that it's very odd. I can't recommend this to everybody because it's out there. But like I said, it scratched that part of my brain where I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? I need to find out more. And that to me has been super interesting lately, especially since I'm starting to realize that just means that I'm interested in it. Even though it's not what I'm typically interested in, it's not like a good old shonen goodness that I know is just piquing, scratching the right part of my brain that I'm very used to. This is intriguing me in a different way, and it's been enjoyable. It's been a weird journey, but it's been enjoyable. And I'm waiting for more volumes of this to accumulate physically before I get back into it. Because like I said, I can't remember where exactly I am. I'm going to have to look it up and find out where I am. But I'll wait for a couple more volumes to come out, and then I'm going to start binging these all over again. Now after that, we have a mangaka that is very well known in the industry. We have Shueishida's Chojin X. I'm behind by now 2 volumes. I haven't read Volume 2, and I haven't read this volume yet. I need to read Volume 2. I really, really, really enjoyed Volume 1. I am a huge fan of Shueishida's work, her art, storytelling, the whole 9. I'm a huge, huge fan, and I cannot wait to continue to read more of the series. Volume 1 did its job, and I need to get back into it. I cannot wait to get back into it. And to follow that, we have a series that is very freaking simple. We have Rooster Fighter Volume 4. I haven't read any of this. I'm very behind on this. But I hear it's a very simple, very simple manga that is basically like Chicken One Punch Man. That's enough to interest me, and I definitely want to get into it. I'm waiting for more to accumulate. Part of me is waiting for it to conclude, because I'm like, there can't be much of this series. I can't imagine a chicken has dialogue. Okay, chickens have dialogue. But I might wait till Volume 5, and then I'll binge the first 5 volumes. But it's up my alley. It's that typical shonen goodness. I don't know if it's shonen. It's probably seinen. Typical action goodness. I'll put it that way. That whole I'm gonna punch that guy. Instead, it's I'm not gonna punch that guy. It's a rooster saying I'm gonna punch that kaiju. Kick that kaiju. Wing that kaiju. Peck that kaiju. That seems more accurate. Is it? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. But I'll let you know. Following that, we have a series that I'm very much behind on, but I have read enough to know that I'm interested. We get Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead, Volume 11, is it? Yeah, Volume 11. This anime just started. I believe, if I heard it correctly, it's on indefinite hiatus currently. They don't know when the next episode's going to come out. I don't know how many episodes are currently out. I'm not watching it. But I heard somewhere that it's like on indefinite hiatus because they don't know when they're going to release more volumes, which is odd. Sorry, not more volumes, more episodes, which is odd. Sorry, I'm getting this and the anime mixed up. But the manga seems to be going strong. Volume 12 is coming out in October, I believe, and I definitely need to get caught back up. I think I stopped reading on Volume 4. Yeah, I think I stopped reading on Volume 4, took a break from it, and just continued to accumulate more and more volumes so that, like I said, and I keep mentioning all the damn time, I love to binge my series. So accumulating volumes for me is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because I cannot wait to binge the series, especially when it concludes. That's like when the peak of my interest shoots through the roof. It's like it's over. I'm reading it like immediately. So this is good in my opinion. It's good. I know a lot of people dropped it, but it's still very enjoyable for me. I can't imagine it getting worse. Man, that sounds bad. I can't imagine it getting bad. Let's put it that way. I can't imagine it getting bad. I really enjoyed the first 4 volumes, and I fully expect to enjoy the rest of the series. And this next series is by the same mangaka. We have Alice in Borderland Volume 7. This is yet another series that I'm waiting for it to conclude, which I believe we're right around the corner. I can't remember where I heard. I think 9, possibly 10 of these 2-in-1s, and then the series is over. It's Dunzo, Finiski. I'm waiting until then. I hear a lot of really, really good things about the series. I hear a lot of really good things about the live-action adaptation that was on Netflix for all. I think it's still there. I haven't watched it. But I hear a lot of really good things about the series, and I'm just waiting for it to conclude so I can binge through all of it. And like I said, it's just another one of those series that I cannot wait for it to conclude. And binging through it's just going to be such a pleasant experience. Now we are down to the last 2 volumes of this haul. Both of them have me extremely excited. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the one that I haven't read quite yet, but is, oh man, the moving up the TBR, it's like, it's up there. Once I get caught up on everything else I'm reading, I'm most likely starting the series immediately after, and that is Part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Volume 9. This concludes Part 5. I've been waiting for it to conclude so that I can go ahead and binge through all of it. And I want to read it so bad that I've even gotten this new fire and desire to reread through Part 4 and then read Part 5. Even though Part 4 has it, they have no connection. That's how all the JoJo parts are. But I enjoyed Part 4 so much, and I read it over a year ago. Actually, yeah, over a year ago I read Part 5, and I want to go back and re-experience it and reread it again, and then get into Part 4. I'm confusing myself. It's been forever since I read Part 4, but I want to go back and re-experience it and then experience Part 5 for the first time. If not both of them, definitely Part 5. JoJo's is some of my favorite manga of all time. Typical shonen goodness. I'm a punch the guy. Action, comedy. It does everything right. And Hirohiko Araki is such a special individual, making such an incredible cult classic that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did. And for a while, I swore off of it. I thought it was too weird. I didn't want to get into it. And now that I did, I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad I wasn't so stubborn, because this is some of my favorite manga of all freaking time. Now, the last volume of this haul I have read, and I want to talk about it very briefly, but it's from a very, very well-renowned mangaka. I don't know how they're pronouncing this. I know a lot of people are calling it hashtag DRCL, Midnight Children. I'm just going to call it Dracula Midnight Children, because that's what this series is about. It's about Dracula. I'll read you guys the synopsis. And this beautiful, evocative, and often surreal retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula, a fearsome enemy arrives from the east, bringing with it horrors the likes of which have never been seen in the British Empire. Standing opposed are I had a hard time pronouncing her name when I was reading it. Wilhelmina Murray. This is a bad idea. And her stalwart companions unite in a cabal that eclipses gender, nationality, and station until the day that they can achieve victory. As Mina struggles to find her place as a Whitby School's first and only female student, a devilish horror is unleashed upon the academy and its unsuspecting students, Count Dracula. However, when this unspeakable evil lays claim to her beloved Lucy Westerner, I told you this is a bad idea. Mina stands ready to join forces with her fellow students and fight against it with everything she has. So this mangaka, Shinichi Sakamoto, is very well renowned in the manga community for their works on Innocent Rogue. I believe it's called, the other really popular manga is The Climber, and now this one. This is the first manga we are getting from them in English print, and the next one is Innocent. I think that's getting printed by Dark Horse, which I will also be picking up because this person's art is amazing. Let me just show you this panel. The art is incredible, and this was an amazing read. I actually went into it with like zero expectations. I knew nothing about it. I picked it up simply because of the cover and because it is Shinichi Sakamoto, a mangaka I've been hearing a lot of really high praise and incredible things about, but never read any of their works. So when I finally had the opportunity to get one of their works in English, I decided to jump on the opportunity, and I'm so glad I did because this volume was so good. Very creepy, but so good. And I'm going to show you guys a panel that made me sick. It's like, hey, I didn't like it, maybe you will. This panel has scarred me. I can't look at Moss the same way, which, once again, is another weird thing to say. But the art is incredible, and this panel was one of those things where it's like, I can't look at it, but I can't look away. But this art, the story, everything about this volume was just so good, and it blew my expectations out of the water. I went into it so blind, and I'm so glad I did. But after reading it, I was like, I cannot wait for volume 2 of this series. Whew! Man, okay, I am so sorry for how long this video was. I was considering breaking it up into 2 parts, but I was like, screw it, we're doing it live. We're gonna do it all in 1 part, and editing me might regret that decision.
Oh, and I did.
But such is life. Once again, I'm so sorry for how long it took. I haven't even looked at the other side of the screen to see how long I've been recording for, but I know it's been a while. So I apologize for how long it was. I don't think I'll be making another haul this long because I do not want to eat up so much of your time, but I think this haul was worth it. It was accumulating manga that I got for 2 months because I've been slacking. Not going to happen again because I do not want, like I said, I don't want to eat up all you guys' time when I'm making these videos. Then on top of that, I wasn't expecting to be yapping so much. Like, I really thought I was going to like bust through them, but I felt like I had something to say about every freaking series. Some of it was nonsense. I'm just, blabbing. I'm just yapping. I'm just a certified yapper at this time. But look, I had fun filming. That's all that matters for me personally. I just hope you guys have as much fun at watching the videos that I put out, especially this one because it's taken way too freaking long. Hopefully in editing I can cut it down just a little bit. That's not too freaking long, but we'll see what kind of magic I can work. Well, that's going to do it for the manga haul for August and September. It was over 80 plus volumes. I believe the final count was 88 from 11 different publishers. And I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys thought of the video in the comment section down below. And today's question of the day is, how do you feel about Manhwa? Have you gotten into it? And if you have, how do you feel about it? What are your current favorite manhwas? Whether it's in English print or that you've been reading online. I'm very, very interested and curious to hear your answers because you might tell me about a manga in this comment, or sorry, a manhwa in this comment section that I knew nothing about, but is getting an English print soon, or maybe gets an English print in the near future. And I guarantee you, I will remember that comment, and I'll probably end up picking it up just because you said something about it. So let me know in the comment section down below. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Once again, I am so sorry for how long it took, but I hope you guys did enjoy your time while you were here. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Shonen see you out. Peace. Now, this next series I am caught up to besides this